Hey everybody, and welcome to GameQuest, the Volquest.com Game Day podcast or Game Day Eve podcast. I am your host, Cain, alongside Ramey, former Tennessee quarterback. Jarett Guarantano going to join the show here in a matter of 10-15 minutes, as he always does, to give his view on this Oklahoma matchup for the Tennessee Volunteers. GameQuest is presented by the great people each and every single week over at Spivey, Cain and Spivey LLP. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. That's TN Trial Lawyers, where they specialize in criminal defense, family law, and personal injury. You can pick up the phone today and dial this number for a free consultation, 423-245-4185, 423-245-4185, or check them out online at SpiveyKingandSpiveyLLP.com. All right, so let's look at this weekend's game, Tennessee and Oklahoma. What a huge scene this is going to be. It's kind of hard to believe, Grant, that this is the first night game at Neyland. It's going to be November the 1st, the first night game at Neyland Stadium all season long. Pulling out all the stops. So dark mode's been activated because it's, the day after Halloween, so that's going to be fun. I love spooky Rocky Top. I don't know why everybody doesn't, or some people, everybody's going to find something to complain about. I think spooky Rocky Top is awesome, so that's going to be playing on repeat. But even more than that, obviously, this is a huge matchup. This is a college football playoff elimination game. You're not going to make the field with this win, but you will miss out on the field with a loss. 3 teams in the SEC this week are playing for their lives. That's Texas with 2 losses, and, of course, Oklahoma and Tennessee. So the stage is set, man. It should be a incredible atmosphere, and hopefully Tennessee gives the home crowd a lot to cheer about early on in this football game.
Yeah, you just want to keep yourself in that conversation, and that applies obviously to both teams. But for Tennessee specifically, I mean, you're looking at the last month of the schedule. You've got 2 losses. You can't afford any more losses. You got to be perfect from here on out. You got 4 games left. 3 of them are at home, so you better take care of business at home. It better start against Oklahoma, because if you beat Oklahoma, you stay in that conversation through the bye week. Then you got New Mexico State. Then you're going to Florida on the 22nd. In another play-in game for your playoff chances. So you want to keep that playoff bubble intact as long as you can, be in that conversation. Obviously, Tennessee's kind of still on the outside looking in when you look at all the projections and stuff like that, but just keep yourself alive in this thing, man. Get to Gainesville with a playoff spot on the line. Win that. Find a way to win that football game. Does Vanderbilt become a play-in game on November 29th, the regular season finale for both teams, perhaps, if they get that far and they're still in the conversation. But this whole thing is you just want to keep yourself in that conversation, on the bubble, whatever, as long as you can. Prolong it as long as you can. You got to take care of business at home. Obviously, that starts this week.
Yeah, it does. And your weekly write-up on what the ESPN playoff predictor says about Tennessee, 23% chance to make the college football playoff. But as you point out, there'll be an 84% chance to make the playoffs if Tennessee goes 10-2, so essentially winning the rest of the games. And that's a little bit down. I think the percentages are kind of funny. Like last week, it said if Tennessee went 10-2, it'll be 90%. Now it's 84%. Again, just handle business, and even more so, like you need this win in the worst way. This will be a ranked win. Vanderbilt, you need. I said this on another show earlier this week. Like Tennessee needs Vanderbilt to keep winning, keep looking great.
Right.
Because you need that win. And obviously, if you're 10-2, I think it's going to be hard to keep a team from the SEC out at 10-2, like Tennessee. But if Vanderbilt's really good and you beat them there at the end of the season, that's going to carry a lot of weight. If Oklahoma, continues on having a good year, and this turns out to be a really good win, that's going to carry some weight. Tennessee does not have a signature win yet. And so that just makes it even more important on Saturday that Tennessee handle business. And like you said, handle business at home. I mean, Tennessee wins games at home against teams not named Georgia since 2021.
Right.
Tennessee is very good at home. Just continue doing what you do at home and finding ways to win. It hadn't always been pretty. Hadn't always been pretty this year. Wasn't always pretty in 2022 at times, and certainly over the years. But it's imperative to take care of business at home and then worry about the swamp, later this month.
All you can do is position yourself to be 10-2 on Selection Sunday and hope everything breaks your way. I don't know what kind of chaos would have to happen in the month of November. I don't know who you'd be rooting for to lose and all that stuff at this point. But there are going to be games in November where you need certain things to happen. Remember, Ole Miss went to Florida last November. They lost in Gainesville. That kind of eliminated them and kind of opened up a spot, it felt like, for Tennessee at the time when that game was happening. You're going to need stuff like that to happen, but first of all, you got to take care of business and you got to put yourself in position. That's 10-2, and you got to hope there's not a lot of other 10-2 teams around you. You got to hope for some some teams to get that third loss and take themselves out of the conversations, because it's hard for me to imagine Tennessee could be 10-2 and get left out of the playoff. I don't want to speak it into existence either, but 84%. If people either love those forecasts or hate them, however you feel about it. It feels like if Tennessee was 10-2, they'd find a way to get in the college football playoff. But this time of year, man, it's style points. It's winning big. It's looking like you're playing your best football at the end of the season. And this Tennessee team has been very much up and down, trying to figure it out. I mean, this is a team that was a made field goal away from beating Georgia at home. It's a Tennessee team that, maybe Alabama looks different if the first half ends in something that's not disaster. So it's been hard to figure this team out. If this team could start putting some together and play their best football in November, maybe that would make a bigger impression come December, whatever day the bracket comes out.
It'll be interesting. Can't go 10-2 without going 7-2. I said that last week. I'm going to say it again this week, and then I'm going to stop because I know people are annoyed by it. To me, the storyline of this game is, and we're going to dive into it, and we'll talk to Jarett about it here in a moment as well. I mean, Oklahoma's defense is great, right? But Ole Miss just put 34 on them. Tennessee, I think Georgia's defense is good. I don't think it's elite like it's been, but Tennessee put up a ton of points over Georgia. Tennessee's offense wasn't fantastic against Alabama, but it wasn't horrendous either. I mean, your quarterback played his worst game in a Tennessee uniform. It wasn't even close. Mm-hmm. And you still, I think, now granted, that last drive, I mean, the game was over and all that, and Tennessee marched down the field. Tennessee actually outgained Alabama in pretty much every offensive category. My point is, Tennessee's offense, I think, is going to find ways to put points on the board. For me, it's this Tennessee defense against John Mateer, and the highs and the lows, the frustrations. I mean, we know about Tennessee's defense at this point in the year, right? No sense in even just rehashing it over and over and over again. We know what happened last week against Cutter Boley, who I wasn't aware that he was an All-American. That's what it felt like that night. He's going to make some money in the transfer portal, and good for him. That's his tape. Just trot it out there to everybody, right?
Right.
John Mateer has not looked like himself since the injury. And I've talked with a lot of Oklahoma people this week, and they say that the thumb's 100% fine. I don't know if I buy that, but they say it's really, for him, it's been mental. He is not seeing the field well. He does not have confidence in himself. He is throwing to his first or second read, not scanning the field. And maybe all that's true. I don't watch all of Oklahoma's games. But he has not looked like the Heisman Trophy type quarterback he was to begin the year. Hurt his thumb, missed a couple games. He's been back, and Oklahoma has, since he's been back, Oklahoma has averaged 311 yards of total offense, 193 yards through the air, 118 yards on the ground. They've ran the football well the last 2 weeks, pretty ironically, because this has been a horrible running football team traditionally wise. Had 171 yards with a true freshman, leading the way with 100 yards against South Carolina 2 weeks ago. Sophomore Blaylock had over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on just 9 carries against Ole Miss last week. So they've ran the football well here lately. But John Mateer, again, has not been great. He has averaged, let's see here. John Mateer has threw for 202 yards against Texas, 3 picks, no touchdowns. 150 yards against South Carolina, 1 touchdown, no pick. 223 yards against Ole Miss, 1 touchdown, no pick. Rushing yards of 5, 14, and 17. And this was a guy that was, running the crap out of the football before his injury as well. Can Tennessee's defense feast a little bit? Maybe not feast, but can Tennessee's defense continue the trend? Or is John Mateer going to look like the Heisman guy that he was against Auburn earlier in the year, against, Michigan, some of those bigger games earlier in the year?
I think it's one frustrated group going up against another frustrated group. I think I read somewhere this week where Mateer said it's not his thumb. His thumb's fine, all this stuff, whatever struggles he's going on, it's not due to the injury. I was following along some of the Sooner Scoop guys watching that Ole Miss game on Saturday, saying, this throw's there. Why isn't he making it? This guy's there. Why didn't he get him the ball? Why is he not just seeing the field right now? So I don't know what the struggles are. If Tennessee could recreate those numbers that you just read off that he's had the last 3 games, you're going to be fine. if this was in Norman, I would maybe give the advantage to Oklahoma and say maybe the offense figures something out and they kind of work out their frustrations. But you're the home team. You got to be the one that works out those frustrations and has a good day, because Tennessee hasn't been bad against the run, it feels like, the last 2 weeks on the road. They didn't obviously cover themselves in glory in either game defensively, giving up what they did through the air and all that stuff, but it felt like against the run they're better the last 2 weeks than they were the previous, I don't know, X number of weeks when they were struggling and getting pushed around by Georgia and Mississippi State and Arkansas as well. So if you can hold him to 200 and a touchdown and no rush yards, if you can get off the field on third down, it's all this stuff that we've been talking about, and just continue to kind of progress in stopping the run, I think you could be in a good spot.
It's kind of funny, too. Like, Oklahoma, statistically the best defense in the conference. Mm-hmm. Number one in scoring defense, tied for first in passing defense, third in rush defense, number one in total defense. While I'm talking about this, the stat that I've just found incredible this week, red zone defense is astronomically great. So opponents have reached the red zone 16 times. They've scored 14 times. So their scoring rate in the red zone is 88%, but touchdown rate in the red zone, they've scored 6 touchdowns in 16 trips to the red zone against this Oklahoma defense. That is 38%. I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really good. And you know what's not been fantastic? Tennessee in the red zone in conference play. Now, against Kentucky it was, and I don't count that kneel down at the end. That just screws up the numbers a little bit. But, you know, Tennessee overall on the year has not been great in the red zone offensively, but they were against Kentucky. So, man, you got to find ways to be creative, to spread things out, to be diverse. I continue to go back to 2022 Alabama, and they brought Jalen Hyatt underneath and just kind of lobbed it to him there, and he hit that corner pylon for the touch. Like, where's some of that? Like, you might have to pull some of that, some tricks out, not trick plays, but some
different
looks and creative schemes and all that down in the red zone, because this defense is really, really good. So, and also on the defense too, like, Oklahoma's defense best in the conference, Tennessee's defense worst in the conference. Tennessee's defense great in takeaways, like top 10 in the nation in takeaways, tied for first in the FBS and defensive touchdowns. Oklahoma's defense in all its glory only has 4 takeaways on the year, which I find that's crazy, man. I would never have thought that.
It's bizarre. You know, you got to credit the defense. They've scored 5 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think that's either leading the country or tied for second, or it's up there, which is crazy to think about. I mean, Edris Farouk makes that play in the first half at Kentucky. That changes the game, because it puts you up 14-0 really quickly, and it forces Kentucky to chase from there on. And the sacks haven't been there the last couple of weeks. They're in big numbers until they went to Alabama. It just hasn't been the case the last 2 weeks. I don't know why. But they got to do a better job, the defensive front, getting to Mateer and disrupting the quarterback, and at least hitting him, if not sacking him. And if you're not getting home, at least disrupting him and putting him off schedule, and just continue to progress in stopping the run, and maybe you can have a little bit better of a day. I mean, it's the angles and the tackling, all the stuff that everybody's been talking about for the past, I don't know how many weeks. It's probably still going to be there, but you are at home. You are scoring a lot of points. You had a ton of explosive plays last week. You've been running the ball better the last couple of weeks than you did to start the season. So your offense doesn't need a ton of support based on what it's been doing lately. Obviously, that changes when you look at Oklahoma's numbers. Maybe Oklahoma plays it better, but every time I looked up on Saturday, it felt like I saw an Ole Miss receiver running open in space with nobody around him. So there are plays to be made and points to score and all that stuff, and chunk plays to be had. Can your defense make that stuff stand up? Can your offense execute like it has, and can your defense make it stand up?
Yeah, like, I'm not trying to paint this picture like it's such a low bar, but, like, you're right. Like, you don't have to be even good. No. You just have to make some stops. Like, make a handful of stops. Is that like if you get 10 possessions, let's make 5 stops. How about that? Like they don't get points, touchdown via field goal, whatever. That, just make some stops here. That's because the way this offense is, and I understand it's going to be a big challenge. That Oklahoma defense is good, and Brent Venables has always been a good defensive play caller, and they're going to mix up their looks, and I'll be intrigued to see what they do in the back end, if they're going to try to take away some of those explosive plays, if they go 3 high, how often they're manning up on the outside, because clearly that's, They did that last year against Dante Thornton on one play, and that wasn't very good. I mean, you
Right.
got to run man. It's not like you're not going to run only man or only zone. Like you're gonna have to mix it up. But when do you choose to do that? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, and we'll get into more of this here in a moment. But boy, the one key matchup that I'm going to have that we're going to talk about after we visit with Jarett is Tennessee pass rush, because I think there is hella opportunity in this one, and I'll tell you why. That's coming up after we speak with Jarett Guarantano. But let's welcome on the former Tennessee quarterback right now, actually in about 2 minutes, to take care of some housekeeping here. But Jarett Guarantano coming up next right here on GameQuest at Volquest.com Game Day Podcast. GameQuest is presented by the great people over at Spivey, Cain, and Spivey LLP. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. That is TN Trial Lawyers. They specialize in criminal defense, family law, and personal injury, examples of which can be DUI, assault, divorce, custody, alimony, parental rights, personal injuries such as car wrecks or accidents. With over 80 years of combined experience, Spivey, Cain, and Spivey LLP provides representation throughout state and federal courts of Northeast Tennessee. The firm has a vast amount of trial experience. This practice has been in place for 43 years with this specific partnership since 2012, while also having partners who are energized for today's modern legal demands. Practicing primarily in the Northeast Tennessee of the Tri-Cities of Sullivan County as well as Hawkins County, Washington County, and surrounding areas. The firm has won multiple awards and have attorneys who have been rated by super lawyers in the Mid-South with real trial experience. Whether you've been injured in a car accident, need help with a divorce, help with custody of your children, or you've been accused of a crime, Spivey, Cain, and Spivey LLP, they can help you. Pick up the phone today, dial this phone number for a free consultation. That is 423-245-4185, 423-245-4185, or check them out online at Spivey, Cain, and Spivey LLP.com. Spivey, Cain, and Spivey. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. That is TN Trial Lawyers. At Whataburger, we believe a late night shouldn't prevent you from enjoying a hot, fresh, made-to-order meal. That's why Whataburger is open 24 hours a day. Treat yourself to a Whataburger, maybe make it a double Whataburger with bacon, grilled onions. Now we're talking Whataburger, just how you like it, and it can be there for you after the Tennessee game late on the Strip this weekend. That is Whataburger. Pleased to be joined by former Tennessee quarterback Jarett Guarantano right here on GameQuest as he joins us each and every single week. Jarett, not only a big week for Tennessee, just number one night at Neyland. It's first night game, which is just wild to even think about. Dark mode jerseys, a big game against Oklahoma in terms of, playoff implications and all that. But also, you're going to be in town for this one. You're going to be coming down and you're going to be in the house. How excited are you to be down here in Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend?
It feels like it's been forever since the last time I've been there. I mean, I came down last year for the Alabama game. That was an awesome win. But outside of that, that was a place that I lived for practically 4 or 5 years of my life. So it's going to be really, really sweet to come home. Obviously, a little bit bittersweet. I've missed all the good food. I've missed Calhoun's. I've missed Gus's. I missed all of the good stuff. Cruise Farm, all those things. So it's going to be super fun. Obviously, seeing all that orange, I don't really see much up in New Jersey, but being able to be back in my element, in that element, it's going to be awesome. Awesome to see.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. You'll get your fill of orange on Saturday for sure, or just as soon as you get in town, you'll see it at the airport.
Just a tad, right?
Yeah, just a tad. Before we get into Oklahoma, like these little things that like shouldn't matter, but they do. Like, I mean, the whole feel good, look good, feel good, play good thing. I mean, is that real? Like, tell me about like if you are feeling fresh, looking good. I mean, does that give you more confidence? Because I mean, these dark mode jerseys are beautiful. Obviously, they're awesome. Tennessee plays well in them, but is look good, feel good, play good a real thing?
I never thought it was until in college we were forced not to wear armbands or leggings or anything on ourselves, and I used to just like feel like I don't really have anything about my personality or myself right now. Like I don't feel like myself. So then obviously when I got back to wearing my stuff, I was like, you know what? I actually feel good. Like, all right, I feel like I can get in a little rhythm. So I will say these blackout jerseys will have the guys feeling good. And obviously they're going to have all the accessories, the armbands, the what's it called? Face mat, whatever it is, leggings. So I'm super excited to see the black jerseys. I might have to go see Hawk, the equipment manager, and see if he can customize a number 2 for me, because those things are absolutely sick. But I definitely agree with the look good, feel good, play good analogy.
Yeah, I bet Hawk could help you out for sure. Just a guy that's probably done that for about every former Tennessee football player. It's kind of amazing to me. Like, this is the first night game in Neyland Stadium this year, and so Was Alabama night or Alabama was afternoon last year, right?
Yeah, Alabama was
Okay.
afternoon, and then it kind of turned into like dusk towards the
Yeah.
late half.
So you have not seen under this Danny White administration, what a night game, really the last like 2 years, night game in Neyland's a show, man. And so like, I mean, you got the fireworks show, the light show. When they run through the T, they'll put it on Spotlight now. Like it's going to be really cool. I'm excited for you to see like all the bells and whistles with it the last couple of years, but also just we talk about night games at Baton Rouge, night games in Alabama, like night games that just there's more energy. It feels like, and you got to play to give energy to the fans for sure. But it just feels like night games are different. Can you speak on experience on playing under the lights at Neyland at night?
Yeah, I'll start with this. If anybody sees me crying, they're not tears, right? They're just, my eyes are a little bit watery. No, but I'll say night games always have a different energy. From a fan standpoint, I haven't experienced it yet, but I can only imagine everybody's hanging out all day, just relaxing. I know there's going to be a lot of other things going on, so hopefully
getting liquored up, man.
Hopefully we'll be able to keep up the energy all the way to the fourth quarter. But I'm so excited to be able to see this version of Neyland that I feel like I've never seen before. Of course, when we did play night games in Neyland, it was absolutely amazing, just awesome environment, atmosphere, all of the above. But with the light show, with the fireworks, with just seeing the black jerseys, with the implications of the game, I think there's going to be so many awesome things that are going to be around. Like even the Vol Walks, it's going to be jam-packed. You're going to see LED lights flashing. I've never seen that before. I am going to be out of my mind just happy with just the development of the program, the development of the stadium, all these different things. So I'm excited. Like I said, my heart's going to be racing just out of my chest. It's going to be super awesome to see everybody going crazy. And we're going to need everyone, especially with this type of level game going into this one. So this is going to be a worthwhile trip for me. And I hope the boys really, really can get this thing going early in this game.
Yeah, I think a good start's imperative. And Tennessee, for the most part, with excluding the game at Alabama, Tennessee's gotten off to a good start offensively and really defensively for most of the year. And I think defensively, it's imperative to give the crowd something to cheer about, right? Like, unfortunately, when you're giving up like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, like repeatedly, it's like, okay, well, we just got up and got loud for that third down 2 minutes ago, right? It's like, and you gave it up. It's like you got to give them something to stay engaged, and I think that's going to be critical in this one because, again, Jarett, this is a really big game. Oklahoma's a good football team. John Mateer, which we'll get on here in a moment, I thought offensively they were much better before his injury. Defensively, best in the conference. So you've got number one offense going up against number one defense. And, typically who wins those battles, man? In your experience, like number one offense, number one defense, who has an edge in something like this? Because both units obviously do things at an elite level and had different tweaks and, ways they go about it.
I'd say when it's a battle like this, it's usually about the opposite side of the football. So, right, we're talking about Oklahoma's defense. We're talking about Tennessee's offense. I'd say it's more of a battle now. Let's see Oklahoma's offense versus Tennessee's defense. That's where I think the game is going to be won or lost. Of course, this is going to be an amazing matchup because I think Coach Venables as well as Coach Heupel, they know each other well. But these teams are so good on those sides of the football for Tennessee's offense and Oklahoma's defense that it's going to be just an absolute chess match. I'm more intrigued with the opposite side of the football is that are so much of the unknown with Oklahoma's offense not being what they looked like early on in the season, and then Tennessee's defense still up and down as the season goes. So in my opinion, defense always wins games. Defense wins championships. That's always been the saying. But from this outlook, when you have such a really good Tennessee offense, I think that those will combat, and it'll be somewhat of a high-scoring game this week.
It's interesting, too, because obviously Josh Heupel, this is Oklahoma. We know the storyline there. But I think we often forget Joey Halsley, offensive coordinator. He played and coached there, okay?
Yeah.
You've got Landry Jones, who's a support staff member. He played there. You've got that aspect of it. You got Seth Luttrell, who was just the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma, before being fired midseason. So he's very familiar with this Oklahoma regime and this Oklahoma players and all that. So, and of course, Brent Venables was either on staff with or coached against all these guys I just mentioned. Seth Luttrell is not an Oklahoma guy, but, Jones, Halsley, Heupel, they're all so familiar with one another. And so I think Brent said earlier in the week this is kind of like a Kirby Saban type deal where everybody just kind of knows one another and they all like coach together. It makes it more exciting, but also like I think Tennessee's going to be changing its calls up literally like every quarter at least. I mean, there's been a security officer at the Anderson training facility all week long because there's rumors out there that Brent Venables like to send people. So like everything's enhanced, and that's just before the fact that like whichever one of these teams loses, JG, playoff chances are done, right? So I mean, you are playing for your playoff life right now, and so it makes it for a really really fun week, and then of course we'll see what's in store on Saturday.
Yeah, this game right here has so much implications that I mean I'm not even surprised. If I was a coach, I'd be trying to get any legal edge that I could possibly get. So it's going to be super cool also with Coach Heupel and a lot of the guys from the Tennessee staff to go back to Oklahoma. My earliest memories in high school with Coach Heupel was when he was at Oklahoma and Coach Hasley was at Oklahoma. So when I went back to Knoxville last year, I had obviously went in the complex, went to say hello. So I was able to catch up with Coach Heupel, Coach Hasley, and it was awesome being able to see those faces because the last time I had talked to them, truthfully, was when I was a junior in high school trying to figure out what college I was going to go to, right? And I had developed a great relationship with those guys, with Coach Heupel at that time. Of course, Coach Stoops was the head coach, so we didn't really know what was going to happen next, both me and him. But I always had a really fond memory of Oklahoma, and majority of the reason why was because of Coach Heupel. So it's going to be cool seeing them in their atmospheres, them seeing those same colors that they wore and bled for in college. And it's going to be an emotional game, right? It's going to be a lot of ups and downs. It's going to be a chess match, of course, we just talked about with the coaching staffs. And then you're going to sit there and see, like, listen, this game's implications, along with the crowd, those are huge factors, right? So it's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of obviously fun being out there, being able to compete. But as a fan, you can't ask for more, right? Especially in November or going into November. It's playoff time. And realistically, the teams that thrive later in the season is the ones that go into the playoffs hot. And that's what we need out of our school at Tennessee.
November 1st, what a way to kick off the month, right? Like it's
crazy.
And you're right. I mean, what more could you ask for if you're just a spectator, if you're just a fan? I mean, this is what it's all about. So I know you don't watch every single Oklahoma game. You're not an expert on the Oklahoma defense, but from what you know about this defense, or maybe just Brent Venables in general, like why is it so challenging? I mean, just look at the stat sheet. They've got, like, I kid you not, there's like 7 or 8 guys that like have like 2 to 3 sacks. Like they get after the quarterback, 29 sacks. They play a ton of linebackers, very productive. For as good as this defense is, and it's number one in the conference in scoring, total defense, tied for first against the pass, third against the run. They only have 4 takeaways, which I found really strange. Like,
it's crazy.
You only have 4 takeaways, but you're so good. But anyway, like, what makes this defense such a challenge, and how will Joey Aguilar need to kind of maneuver around some of those challenges or kind of fight through some of those challenges?
I'd say there are 3 components for that Oklahoma defense. One would be destruction, right? They want to crawl. They want as much destruction, as much force as from that line of scrimmage. They want to win the point of attack from their defensive line, which they really do well. I mean, they have a lot of really good football players. Confusion. When you watch their tape, they're trying to confuse the quarterback as much as possible, as well as confuse the offensive line into making certain calls. So they do a lot of things schematically that might cause problems for an offense that really, really isn't in tune with their keys. And then 3, I think that when you sit there and you see their aggressiveness, right? They are trying to confuse. They're kind of destruct. They're trying to and they're sitting there and they're going to be aggressive to the point where they want to cause negative football plays. So they run to the football. They're run and hit the team. You see everybody on their team rallying, and then they're really good when the ball's in the air. That goes to be said. Yes, not a lot of turnovers, but they really do surround the football while it's in the air, and they really do play pass coverage very well. Like, it's almost smothering. And then when, like you said before, when you have a D line that can get home to the quarterback or linebackers that can sit there and pressure, that makes it tough for an offense, right? So Tennessee's going to have to live by their first down, instantly get into their rhythm and kind of going full speed, no huddle. And we're just going to have to continue to kind of soften that team up, because if they're able to send their pressures and they're able to get home and get their calls in defensively, they're really, really good football team with that.
Yeah, you just kind of touched on it there. Like, let's put on the coach's headset here. How do you soften up that defense? Tempo, try to stay balanced. I mean, what's your plan of attack to kind of go into this game and truly soften up and try to find some weaknesses to exploit in this game.
What's really good about the Tennessee offense is how balanced, right? I wanted to go see today. I went to check statistically speaking on what we were doing run to pass ratio, and it's as 50-50 as possible. I think it's 52-48. So being able to implement the run game is going to be key, just like in any other game. But we're going to have to work a lot of tempo. We're going to have to get them out of their blitz calls, and they're going to have to get out of their funky looks, especially in third down. So if we're able to win first, second down, creating third and short, that'll soften them up into playing more man-to-man rather than them being 3rd and 8. Because if they get us 3rd and long, they are going to send a crazy pressure if they're huddled up or if their calls are coming from the sideline. So being able to win those mixed downs, being able to go tempo when needed, and being able just to sit there and say, let's get in a little rhythm. Me personally, they do play a physical brand of football, and they do sit there and say, we're going to go press up sometimes. But from their standpoint, they also show a lot of coverages. I would, as a defense going against a Tennessee team, I would play bend, don't break. And I would say back up everybody. What Joey and these wide receivers do well is they stretch the field vertically. Let's make them go on these long drives and see if they can commit a turnover or see if they have anything, holding call, false start, whatever it may be, to set them back. I just don't see Oklahoma's defense sitting there playing that man-to-man that they love so much, or sitting there playing that physical brand where they're like, you know what, let's just challenge these wide receivers with press. I can't see it just based off of the last game that we played with Kentucky and us absolutely just screeching through their secondary. So it's going to be interesting to see their game plan, and we'll see it very early because they're not going to want to be down. Oklahoma's not a good offensive team right now. They want to be with a lead. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be very, very easy to see early on what they're trying to get accomplished against their offense.
Yeah, they can't live in man. I mean, you got to mix it up defensively no matter what. Like, you can't live in something. But, man, Kentucky, and I'm glad you brought that up at the end, like, Kentucky was like, hey, if you beat us over the top, you beat us over the top. It's fine. We're going to try to take away your run. And they manned up on the outside, and it was just awful for them.
It was a free-for-all, right?
I mean, it was – you made the comment we were talking off air. It's almost like, passes down the field. It's like a handoff for Aguilar, man. It was just – I mean, it's like Brazel and man-to-man, it's no contest. So – yeah, you got to mix some things up, and but Kentucky didn't for the most part, and Tennessee made them pay. So I certainly think that Oklahoma and Brent Venables is not going to stay in something for too long, throw different things at them, and kind of try to do what they do best. You look at Oklahoma offensively and John Mateer. I think John Mateer is a really good quarterback, man. Great transfer into this league and came in with all the hype and was playing and backing up that hype. One of the better quarterbacks in the league. Suffers the thumb injury, out for a couple of games. He's been back for 3 games, and he just hasn't looked the same for me. I've talked to a lot of people in Oklahoma, and they say the thumb is not the issue right now. It's just his confidence and his he's not seeing the field well right now. Regardless of what it is, you hope the Tennessee's defense can kind of continue this trend, because he is the type of guy that can certainly take over a game and can win. Like, when you talk about being the underdog and going on the road in this environment, when you have everything working against you, not at Neyland, dark mode, VFL is coming back to watch. It's everything's going against him. He's the type of guy that can take the game over and win it, right? So Tennessee's defense has got to continue his negative trend right now. But he's got a lot of talent. Why is he so talented? And maybe if you've seen him lately since the injury, what is he not doing as well now that he was doing at the beginning of the season?
Right. When you look at John Mateer at the beginning of the season, I had a lot of buddies. Of course, I went to Washington State for my grad transfer year. He was at Washington State. I had a lot of buddies that were at Wazoo that told me about this John Mateer guy. So last year, dating back, I would just, for fun, put on the TV, watch some Washington State games. And you saw a guy that was super athletic. You saw a guy that was making all the throws, just playing with supreme confidence. I thought going into this season, he was my personal pick for SEC Player of the Year. And I thought as soon as the first couple of games that went by, I was like, you know what? I'm money, right? I am spot on. I knew it. I'm telling everybody I knew it. You see a change over the course of the season with him. And, of course, I had played with a broken hand in an injury in college that kind of I suffered, and it kind of eliminated certain things from my game, unfortunately. This is on his throwing hand. So, as for your throwing hand, I think whenever you're able to finish your throws or whenever you feel pressure around you, you don't want the same thing or you don't want anything to happen with hitting your hand on a shoulder pad, a helmet. So it kind of takes away from your aggressiveness as a thrower. When you watch him, you see talent off the board, right? Like, you see him being able to make every single throw. His run game is absolutely awesome. That's kind of had to hinder the past couple of weeks. I mean, it just doesn't seem he's as explosive running the ball.
35 yards total in 3 games since he's been back on the ground, where he was running it 20 times a game, scoring 2 touchdowns early in the year, right?
Looking awesome. And I mean, it went from he was more of around like 70 and 60 and the 30 range, but his aggressiveness running the football is what makes him great, right? And I think that, and when they create numbers offensively in the run game with the quarterback run, and they're sitting there and they actually go in favor and they're blocking with the running back instead of handing it off, they are a really good football team. I just don't see the level of aggressiveness from him in these past couple of games. And I don't know, it could be his hand injury. It could be this is the first time that he's playing really big boy conference and big boy football. So he's kind of sitting there battling mentally like, hey, like I can't turn the ball over. I have to play this certain way. This is the first time for a lot of things, right? And this injury could be something. They're talking about not as much. He came out recently and said that it's not about his hand. It's more about how he's seeing the field and how he has to play better, which I respect, right? You don't want to make excuses. And clearly he's that type of guy not to. What scares me is at any time he can turn it on, right? I've seen this kid play last year and I've seen him play some really good football games this year. Against a defense that hasn't been so great of recent, he could turn it on and have an absolute great day in Neyland, which of course I don't want to happen. But talent-wise, there's nothing saying that he can't let it happen, right? If we hope that it's not this week. Maybe we hope that maybe it's next week where he absolutely starts playing out of this world. But with their weapons and what they have on their team, we have to honor him as if he's John Mateer of recent or old past, right? We have to sit there and we have to go into this game and sit there and say, like, this guy's a really good football player. We have to stop him in the run game. He can make every throw on the field. We have to go into it with a lot of confidence in our defense and a lot of respect for him. Because if not, last week, Cutter Boley, he played a really good football game. He played the best game of his career, right? And I don't know if that's just because of his doing, because he played really well, or if that's Tennessee's defense not playing as well as we should have. But John Mateer, this is somebody that we have to respect. And if we don't, John Mateer of Washington State, John Mateer of early in Oklahoma season, this could be a stepping point in his season where he gets back to his old self. Hopefully not this week, though.
Yeah, I think as far as Cutter Boley is concerned, I think it was safe to say a little bit of both. He never played better. Tennessee's defense certainly helped in that regard. And I, too, I like John Mateer. I hope he balls out. Not this week. I hope he balls out later because, I mean, I root for the guy. I think he's good. Not this week, but I do like the quarterback. But I'm not calling him a liar. I'm not saying he's a liar for saying it's not about my thumb or anything. But, I mean, JG, tell me, man, you can speak from personal experience. You played hurt every game, right? Yeah. It was your back, your hand, your knee, whatever it was, dude. You were playing broke all the time. Not one time did you ever go out there and say, guys, my knee is just freaking killing me. I can't move. I can't plant. My hand is broke, guys. I can't throw the football. And so John Mateer would never say that. So, like, right. I want to know kind of what that I mean, we're not going to find out, right? But, like, I wonder how much he really is hurting or how much he's limited compared to before surgery. Because, again, competitors, Mateer, you and your day, like, you're never going to come out there and go say, guys, I'm playing with one hand behind my back right now. I'm doing the best I can, right? Like, it's just is what it is.
No, I'd say this. I talked to and this is a completely different example from anything that we're even talking about or even thinking about. I talked to my cousin last year, and there's a baseball player named Julio Rodriguez on the Mariners. Mm-hmm. And me and my cousin were talking about him, and I was like, why is he having a down year? He's one of the best center fielders in MLB. He said early in the season that he got hit by a pitch on his hand. And when you're a batter, it puts something into your head that whenever you go to swing, like you have that little bit of suddenness. You're like, I don't want it to jam me up, or I don't want it to hit my hand again.
Yep.
The same thing for a quarterback. His hand is his baby, right? This is all he's ever known since he was probably 7, 8 years old throwing the football. Same thing. And whenever you have a hand injury and when you're in the middle of a season, you're going against pass rushes and obviously just anywhere where you have to be able to finish a throw and be aggressive and sit there and say, even if it's not a clean pocket, I got to step into this. That's going to take away from that confidence. That's going to take away from that little bit of aura that you have in the game. So, of course, he's going to sit there and say no. And psychologically, he might even in his head say, like, this is not my hand. But his body and his mind are telling him completely different things. Whenever he goes to finish a throw, whenever he goes to snap his wrist or internally rotate from his shoulder, there's something that might be triggering him saying, take care of that hand, right? And even when he's running the football, he's going to say, I want to run the ball tough, like nothing's wrong with it. There still might be something in his body or in his mind that's in there saying, maybe don't stiff arm that aggressively, or maybe don't go into this guy that violently. So it might take him some time. I hope that the time that it's taken over the past couple of weeks is not going to be this week. Hopefully it's next week. But he could sit there and say that for sure, as any other player would. Anybody that's worth anything will sit there and say, like, no, nothing's bothering me. It's all me. But it could be psychologically where it's damaging him a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised to, because quarterback's in their hands, right? It's just, they need them.
Yeah, and I mean, that's human nature, right? Like, your body is telling you, oh, like, just like you said, don't stick your arm out right there. You're on a run here. Like, on the release, draw it back real quick. Like, that's it's reflexes. It's your body telling you. So it's like, that's just human nature, a lot of it. On top of that, talking about pressuring him, Tennessee's defensive line, Tennessee's defense in general, led the nation in sacks there for a bit. They've had one in the last 2 games. It's not been great. But Oklahoma, starting left tackle, true freshman, starting right tackle, true freshman right now, the starters in concussion protocol, potentially 2 starting freshmen at the tackle spots. I mean, what an opportunity for these Leos. Tyree West, Weathersby, Don Bailey, Josephs, Ross, Herring. I mean, go have a field day, right? Like, force Mateer into making those bad decisions and have an accelerated clock, because, I mean, they're on those freshmen are on scholarship for a reason. But like we talked about in Georgia game and Mississippi State and all that and more, like, they played in big games already this year, but, like, they're about to get a Neyland experience, and it's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. I think an opportunity again for Tennessee's defense to go out there and make some plays.
That is such a deciding factor in this week too. Like, hopefully their true freshman offensive tackles don't play like our true freshman offensive tackles and just go out there and just dominate.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get that performance from them. But for them to be going into this atmosphere with the amount of crowd noise that's going to be had in this situation, going against a pass rushing team that's really, really good, and you're going against Josephs, who's, listen, he might be the most relentless football player in all of college football with the way that he attacks, and he just doesn't stop play after play after play. Our Tennessee defensive line should be, like any other defensive line, should be super excited for this opportunity, going against the younger guys up front at home. Of course, it's going to be a tough battle. Oklahoma's going to have to offset that offensively, so whether that's maybe more run game, more zone read, or whatever it is, reading off that defensive end, spinning the ball to that outside with more RPOs, just getting the ball stretched out so where they don't have to rely offensive line play wise. They're going to have to figure out a way to not make this offensive line or these offensive tackles uncomfortable early. So for Tennessee's standpoint, you want to go get after the quarterback. You want to make those offensive tackles very, very intimidated early. Oklahoma's standpoint, let's take these offensive tackles out the game early. Let's get them in. Let's get them fitted up. Let's get them feeling good, seeing certain things, spinning the ball outside, trying to stay away from any inside runs or anything that they might not do very well. And that's just that battle, right? So we have to be able to understand what they're looking for, and we have to and they have to understand what we're trying to get at. And it's not really a surprise what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to cause as many sacks, as much disruption in the backfield, because we know in our back end we can't play as much man-to-man. We haven't been as good with our pass defense. We have to win up front. So it's going to be very interesting to see the offensive play calling for Oklahoma and the defensive play calling for Tennessee.
Should be a great game. I think it's going to be a close game. I'll give my selection with Grant Ramey here at the end of the show, but I think it's going to be a really, really good game. JG, how do you see this game playing out, man? Do you have a prediction right now?
I got 30. I got 38-31 Tennessee. 38-31. Yeah. I think Oklahoma does score more points than we expect. They get in a little bit of a rhythm. And I think Tennessee's offense continues their stretch of playing really good football. I might give Oklahoma 34. I might go there because I do think Vegas doesn't lie, right? Vegas knows something that I don't. I watch all the games. But I'm going to go with 38-31.
With all due respect, it would not be far-fetched to tack on some more points for the opponent. So it's what it is, man. Hey, again, like, if you give up 35, go get 3 or 4 takeaways. Tennessee did that in the first half last week against Kentucky. Just didn't finish the right way, obviously. Maybe they will this week. It'll be fun. JG, as always, man, appreciate you joining us. Your family, have a great time at Neyland. Hopefully I'll run into you, but welcome home, and I hope it's a really, really good experience for you guys.
Thank you, brother. Super excited.
Great stuff as always there from Tennessee former quarterback, VFL Jarett Guarantano. Always love his perspective, his look at the opposing defenses, and especially this one with Brent Venables. Really, really talented defense. So good job by Jarett. I really appreciate his work. Go follow his stuff on YouTube, trying to build his brand a little bit. It feels like he's everywhere now, and really appreciate him coming on GameQuest every single week. All right. So a key for Tennessee in this one, in my opinion, is going to be that pass rush. And yes, Tennessee was doing one of the few things that does really well defensively, sack the quarterback. It was doing that at an elite level to begin the year, really up until the last, 7-8 quarters, really. Needs to get back on track in that regard. Here's how it's going to do that. Oklahoma starts a true freshman at left tackle and is currently, we'll have to check the injury report as we get close to kickoff, obviously, currently riding with a true freshman at right tackle. Book in true freshman.
On the road.
On the road in Neyland with a quarterback that has not looked like himself since an injury. I mean, get after it, right? Like, I mean,
pin your ears back. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like let's get like this. I mean, if you're Joshua Josephs, if you're those veterans on that defensive line, you're like, all right, it's been a frustrating year. Let's go tackle some of them demons today. All right, like I am just enthralled with this matchup, and they're on Division I scholarship. They're in the SEC program for a reason. They're good football players, and I'm sure they've had some highs. I'm sure they've had some lows. Talking about these freshman tackles. But Joshua Josephs needs to make some of them highlight reels they show next April in the draft, right?
Right.
Like those type of plays. So Tyree West, Don Bailey, Weathersby, Josephs, Ross, Herring, have a day. That's something I'm watching for against those freshman tackles. And again, we'll continue to check and see if the right tackle is going to be cleared or not before the kickoff. But regardless, there's going to be a true freshman at least one of those tackles.
I mean, good for Rodney Garner on what day was that? Tuesday, saying we're not good enough. We haven't been good enough. We haven't coached good enough. We haven't played good enough. We haven't executed good enough. We haven't whatever. Like the stuff you want to hear, just own up to it and be accountable and say you're demanding better and you're striving for better, and it's not alignment and assignment and technique and all this stuff that the other coaches say. Josh Heupel could get a lot of people off his back if you just say we're not good enough defensively and we got to get a lot better in a hurry. This is a game where you got to get better. I mean, we went into Alabama week talking about Alabama just giving up 4 sacks the week before. That defensive front, you go on the road, you got to sack the quarterback, disrupt the quarterback. That makes a huge difference. We didn't really see it. We didn't really see it against Kentucky either. It's time now. You're home. You're playing a quarterback that's been frustrated recently, like you're talking about, 2 freshman tackles on both sides. Make some plays. Change the game early. It's a night game. It's Neyland. You've been really, really good at home. If you're going to be good at home again, you better be getting affecting the quarterback sack numbers, quarterback hits, rushes, all that stuff to set the tone early.
I'm intrigued to see what this run game looks like for Oklahoma. Again, it was all John Mateer before his injury. I mean, he was the leading rusher, and he's still he's second on the team now. He's lost 94 yards to sacks as well. But like Torrey Blaylock is the sophomore that had a good game last week against Ole Miss. Xavier Robinson, I believe that's the freshman. Yeah, I think that's the freshman that went off against South Carolina a couple weeks ago. I mean, again, I don't cover Oklahoma, but like I think you and I are like everybody else. I mean, they returned Javontes Barnes, who I thought was a pretty solid back last year. They went out and got Jaden Ott in the portal, and just those two guys haven't even accumulated over 100 yards. Like, what a disappointment for those two guys, and having to rely on some youth. It's not been there, this run game. It's gotten better of late, but I think this is an opportunity again for Tennessee's defense to go out there and show what it can do against some guys who all year long, for the most part, it's not really been a consistent part of the offense. And again, if you shut down the run, you make it completely one-dimensional on John Mateer, and then you force some anxiety, some panic in the pocket, bad decisions. A guy that is kind of struggling with confidence to begin with entering this game. At least that's what's been portrayed. There's so many different opportunities for the Tennessee defense, in my opinion, to go and take control of this game. And it just sounds crazy that I'm not saying it's up to the Tennessee defense to win this game. I mean, certainly they got to do their part, at least contribute. But like, I just think there's so much opportunity in this one for those guys, and I'm intrigued to see what they look like.
Yeah, it's just been strange all season, and it started with Georgia to see opposing offenses kind of push this Tennessee defense around. in the run game especially, and run it 45, 50 times and run it for 200-plus yards, and just to be able to get 6 to 7 yards, it felt like at will. I mean, Mississippi State ran the ball really well against this team. Obviously, Arkansas did as well, but that's more quarterback run game and stuff like that with Taylon Green. But, a lot for this defense would just be stopping a good starting point, I guess I should say. A good starting point for this defense would just be stopping the run and then go from there. Yes, it's extremely frustrating on 3rd and 12 when you give up a crossing route for 15, or you know your linebackers bail on 3rd and 2 and you give up a 5-yard pass, stuff like that. That's hard to watch, and it's been there all year. But if you could just get back to the point where you're not getting pushed around and you're kind of establishing yourself at the line of scrimmage and changing the line of scrimmage, especially with the 2 freshman tackles that you talked about in the run game, the numbers, the struggles they've had there, don't let this be the game where they start to fix those numbers. Continue to make progress on your side of the ball in stopping the run, and maybe that helps the back end a little bit.
All right, give me some more keys. What else you got in this game? Tennessee's going to win this football game if fill in the blank.
Deshaun Bishop gets back to being, that 100-plus back, the bell cow kind of thing that he was developing into it against Alabama. Didn't hear much from him against Kentucky, obviously because you had a ton of explosive plays, but I think getting back to that would be a good development. It's funny, we were talking before the Kentucky game, me and Austin, Joey kind of got beat up a little bit at Alabama, probably going to be a run-heavy offense at Kentucky, not going to ask him to do a ton. And then he makes like 70,000 60-yard throws, it felt like. What was the number? He's like 6 for 6 for 247 and 2 touchdowns on throws of 20-plus yards or something, which is insane.
I can tell you this right now. Keep talking. I'll pull it up, but it's better than that. I believe it's 7 for 7. It's just keep talking. I'll figure it out.
But Brent Venables on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was, he was talking about, well, last year we were in the 70s in explosive plays allowed, and this year they're top 5 nationally in explosive plays allowed. So they fixed that, it feels like. Can Tennessee still find a way to make explosive plays down the field while also establishing the run? You kind of want the best of both worlds, obviously. So for me, it's I want Deshaun Bishop to have, 15 carries for 120 yards and a touchdown, and I also want there to be some explosive plays mixed in. I don't ask for much against a really good defense, but make explosive plays and run the ball really well.
Joey was 7 for 7 on balls 20 yards or more down the field for 287, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. If you're a Pro Football Focus fan and then look at that stuff, that is a 99.9% grade.
That's unbelievable.
He was 5 for 5 on passes 35 yards or more down the field in this one.
He was moving the pocket, he was standing in the pocket, he was facing pressure, and he was letting it rip. I mean, that one Mike Matthews touchdown, really good ball, really good execution, great play by Mike, but it just felt like Joey was saying, Mike's down there somewhere and chucking it, and it worked.
F it.
Right, and then there was one where he stood in pressure and completed, I don't know who it was, Braylon Staley maybe. It wasn't a very long pass, but it kept that drive going, and they scored right before halftime. That was a huge moment right there. But for Joey to bounce back from Alabama and play the way he did and throw the ball the way he did, like Kentucky was giving stuff up, but Joey was hitting it too. He wasn't missing on those deep balls. It was fun to watch.
And then on the flip side, you had Cutter Boley, who had completed just 3 of 23 on the year, passes 20 yards or more down the field. He went in the first half alone. You had Cutter Boley become. This is from the broadcast. I caught this when I'm on rewatch, but also in live because I stayed home and covered the game from the house last week. He became he became just the second quarterback this year, FBS quarterback this year, to throw 2 touchdown passes of more than 50 yards against a ranked team. The only other quarterback that's done that this year, Joey Aguilar against Georgia earlier this year.
I mean, one of them was kind of a sideline ball that went up the sideline because of poor angles and poor tackling and poor pursuit. That was a 71-yarder. I can't remember the other one.
Yeah, the other one's like 56 yards.
Okay.
It was it was the one. I think it was Boo, right? The double.
That's right.
Got beat on the double move.
That's correct. And he kind of quit running
on
it. I mean, and you're going to have those struggles are going to be there because of the stuff you have going on in the secondary. You've had going on in the secondary all season where you're just trying to throw bodies out there and account for injuries. So, I mean, that's even more important. Why you got to stop the run and force something right there so you can at least try to help your defensive backs a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to see Deshaun Bishop get back in the swing of things. Certainly, I mean, what a year he's had. It's been awesome to watch. I think Tennessee just continue to do what it does offensively. Offensive line's obviously going to be key. Don't need to remind anybody that Oklahoma's second in the league, 29 sacks. Earlier this year in the SEC opener, 9 sacks against Auburn. 2 weeks ago against South Carolina, 6 sacks against the Gamecocks. Brent Hubbs did point out to me on, I think it was the Volquest podcast on Tuesday, that those are the 2 worst offensive lines in the league. That's fair. But can't have any miscommunications between your right guard and your running back on a blitzer, right? I mean, you gotta figure some things out. Offensive line's going to be key. What are they going to? I mean, is Sham going to play? Is it going to be Perry at right guard, Perry at right tackle? No Sanders. I mean, I hate rotating offensive linemen. Thank God they didn't do it like they did against Alabama. That was so stupid, in my opinion. I'm not getting paid money to coach football, so maybe I'm the stupid one, but. I mean, yeah, let's go on the road to Tuscaloosa and let's rotate our offensive line, a different offensive line every single series in the first half, because that sounds like the smart thing to do at this stage in the season, right? So dumb.
I mean, both lines of scrimmage, the tell of the season early on was you had a ton of sacks defensively, and you had only given up, I think, maybe 4 sacks through the first,
going into the Alabama game.
And then Joey got sacked 4 times at Alabama. He got pressured a lot at Kentucky. I don't know what the sack numbers were at Kentucky, but it feels like it's flipped where you're now giving up sacks and you're not getting a ton of sacks. They got to get back to where those numbers are in the positives. You're getting sacks and you're not giving up sacks.
Yeah, big one. I think he was only brought down 1 time at Kentucky, but he was pressured a couple times.
It felt like early on they were struggling to.
Well, he got hit that first touchdown to Brazil, right? I mean, he just stood in the pocket and delivered a good ball and just got drilled. But anyway, I'm intrigued to see how this offensive line holds up. What a challenge, what an opportunity, and should be a good one, man. I'm pumped. I think Tennessee run game, don't be one-dimensional. Shut down the run defensively, put the ball in John Mateer's hands, and see where he's at. And I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that a couple weeks ago. I'm still not really comfortable saying it now, but because I think he is a really good football player. I don't think he's the same quarterback that he was a couple months ago. So we will see what happens, and we'll see how he carves up Tennessee's defense.
I mean, it's a night game. It's Neyland Stadium. It's you got to lean on that home crowd. We saw, what was that, 2023? Spencer Rattler came in here after he had torched Tennessee in 22 in Columbia and struggled and threw that pick 6 right before halftime. That was a game changer. You're going to have some of those moments.
Dark mode.
That's right.
It was dark mode that game. Dark mode this game. Let's see what happens. Grant, get time for predictions. Time of this recording, Tennessee is a 3-point favorite. That total is at 56.5, according to our friends over at BetMGM. What you got, man? What you got? Tennessee and Oklahoma.
Picked off Will Levis how many times in dark mode? In 22? 3 times?
Something like that, yeah.
Juwan Mitchell had that one where he just went up the sideline. Anyway, that was
Juwan Mitchell. What a name. That was
a cool play. Somebody got hammered. The Kentucky receiver got laid out by somebody, and he caught the deflection and took off.
So that game you're thinking of was 2022 Kentucky.
Right.
And it was Danico Slaughter that just drilled Danke.
That's right.
And yeah, Juju was right there.
I think he hurdled somebody or something.
He did, yeah. He
jumped over somebody.
The fact that you brought up Juwan Mitchell on this podcast, that's a name I've not thought about Obi-Wan Kenobi in a long, long time.
It's because I was, the other day, I was going back through my head thinking of all these dark mode games that they've had over the years. But anyway, back to the dark mode game at hand. I'm going to go Tennessee 33, Oklahoma 23. That sounds like a lot of field goals. Field goals make me nervous. That red zone stat makes me nervous that you dropped earlier, because if your defense is struggling the way Tennessee's defense has struggled, it's hard to support field goals. If you get to the red zone, you need to score touchdowns, obviously. But Tennessee at home, Tennessee doing the dark mode stuff, it's just I trust them in that setting, in that scenario. Oklahoma's a really good football team, I think. I think both of these teams are trying to still figure themselves out despite the fact that it's November 1st. But because Tennessee's at home, I think Tennessee wins this game. I don't know if it's dominant. I don't know if it's frustrating, but you find a way to win the football game and you keep yourself in that playoff conversation for the next few weeks.
My favorite stat that I saw earlier this week, and it's one of those where like I just couldn't quite believe it, and I'm going to take its word for it because it's on the internet, right? And I don't want to go back and look, although it really wouldn't be that hard to go back and look, but I'm not going to do it on live recording right now, but you can back me up here because I think it's a pretty well-known stat. Since joining the SEC, Oklahoma's not scored over 27 points in a league game.
Really?
Isn't that shocking? They've not gotten to 30 points in a league game since joining the SEC. Now, granted, it's just been a year and a half, so like not huge sample size, but like 12, 13 games. It's pretty incredible that you haven't surpassed 30 points in an SEC game since joining. I believe that number is 27. 27. Conversely, in 5 league games this year, Tennessee has not allowed fewer than 30 points. So that's not great. Technically, Tennessee's defense allowed 28 points, I believe, or 28 points to Alabama. But a safety and a pick 6, shows up on the scoreboard, so nobody takes that in consideration. But I think this is the week, man. I think Tennessee's defense holds them under 30, which is still not a very good stat, but still, I think you're going to hold them under 30. And I think Tennessee's offense is going to score just enough. It's going to get weird. I don't think it's going to be easy. Contrary to some of the other dark mode games you were talking about earlier, South Carolina 2021, Kentucky 2022. What was dark mode? Spencer Rattler 2023, and then last year was that Kentucky?
That was Kentucky last year.
Yeah, when they won by 10. I think Tennessee wins this game. I think Tennessee gets over 30. And I think Tennessee's going to – I'm just going to follow the Ole Miss route. Give me Tennessee 34. Give me Oklahoma 27. I think it's going to be a super close game, but I think that Tennessee's going to prevail in the end because I think Tennessee's going to make just a couple stops that you need, force a couple takeaways that you need, and I got faith Tennessee's offense is going to find the end zone. So should be fun. I think that puts both of us at the over, right? Or at least me at the over. What was your score again?
I had 33-23, so that's what, 56? Is that the number?
56 and a half.
Did I do the math right in my head? Shout out me, man. Look at me doing math on the fly. Are you writing it down?
Yes, I'm doing the math. I'm going to check it.
What was old school, again? Carry the one.
What was it, 33-23?
33-23. 56.
Yep, 56. You're at a half-point shy, man. Grant Ramey playing the numbers.
Hey, you shouted out the 27-point stat, and then you picked them to score 27 right on the dot. So
by design.
So close.
So close. All right. Appreciate you guys, as always, for joining us here on GameQuest. Should be a heck of a ball game. And again, Tennessee wins this game. You go into the bye week, much-needed bye week. College football playoff ranking show starts on like Tuesday or whatever. Going to New Mexico State. You're going to beat them by however much you want to beat them by. Setting the table for Florida later in the week. But like this is a win that you, for people like me and you, running websites and doing shows, you got to have a win here. Or it's going to be just a blah.
Yeah.
Like
it's going to be it's going to be a death march to a bowl game
so going to be fun. We'll be with you every single step of the way right here at Volquest.com. The game thread's going to be happening. It's always a fun time, depending on what your definition of fun is. Got tons of content leading up to kickoff, or during the game, and of course, all the reaction you could possibly want here at Volquest.com. It is Tennessee. It is Oklahoma. Big thanks to Grant Ramey, Jarett Guarantano, former Tennessee quarterback. I'm Eric Cain. As always, big thanks to Spivey, King and Spivey LLP for being a part of the show. If you have a need, free consultation, 423-245-4185. Give them a call at Spivey, King and Spivey LLP.com online as well. Thanks so much for joining us here. This has been GameQuest of VolQuest.com Game Day Podcast.